Tim for another year. Any further discussion? Fran, call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krieger,
Yes.
Councilmember Winton,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, congratulations. All right, item 4 is proclamations and presentations. And today we have a special recognition of Rick Adams in his much deserved retirement. He was only here a short time. Just kidding. Rick was here a very long time and did an outstanding job serving the city. And I can't believe it's your retirement. So we have a little something for you on behalf of the city. I know you had many roles outside of just being assistant city manager and planning, development and director, emergency services, probably all kinds of things in your time here. But on behalf of the city, we do sincerely thank you for all your service, and I hope, and I know the city hopes that you have a wonderful time in retirement and you don't forget us. Congratulations and thank you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for supporting a good city manager who in turn supported me and gave me the chance to do what I did, and along with a great team that I'm leaving here with you guys. So things will be fine. And I'll send you postcards. And with your permission, for the first time in a long time, I'm not going to stay for the meeting.
Aww.
But I'll be
You
back.
get a free pass.
Thank you, Rick,
folks.
very much. Thank you very much.
Loving.
Okay, now we are on to item 5, which is citizen comments and reports. And there are several of you signed up, which is wonderful. We're gonna try to roll through some of them. I've probably put you in categories, just so we can kind of stay, because some of you are obviously speaking on similar topics, but that way you can kind of all be in the same general topic. So I'm gonna first start with Nicole Boyer, our new Director of Planning and Development. And she's, yes, congratulations.
I just wanted to take a moment to introduce, this is Tess Clark. She's going to be taking my position as planning assistant and is going to be my right hand. So I wanted to make sure that you guys all laid eyes on her so that you can call her for help before you call
And I
me.
didn't get Nicole, I didn't get her name.
Her name is Tess Clark.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome, Tess.
Welcome.
Happy to have you. Tess has already been here several weeks, so she's hit the ground running.
I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Running to.
It's okay. It's okay. It's a good person to run to. All right. So we will roll into the next set. And there's, like I said, there's quite a few of you. So remember, those of you who haven't spoke before, those of you who have 3 minutes, please state your name and your address when you come up to the podium. First, but in no particular order, Steve Davis.
Hi, Mayor. My name is Steve Davis. I'm trying to see if there's any way to get an exemption for the liveaboard spaces at the marina. I know there's only 20. I've been here since Harvey. I left for a few months, came back and no liveaboards available after the 20 slots. That's it.
Okay. Unfortunately, we can't have a back and forth response, but I think by putting that in citizen comments is duly noted that you're waiting for a spot, and we can talk to city staff about maybe if there's any way to possibly in the future expand that. That's what you're asking, so that,
Yes.
because you're on a wait list. Yeah.
There is no list. It's first come, first serve.
Okay,
And transient slips are limited to 15 days.
Sure.
So I'm looking for a permanent spot to park my boat again.
okay. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
City Council.
You could maybe give your phone number and name over here, and we'll get back with you. Thank you.
Okay. Next is Tim Smallwood.
947.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tim Smallwood. I live at 311 Laurel Street here in Port Aransas. I am in the 4-day parasail and shoot 'em up parasailing. We operate out of Woody's Last Stand at 154 West Carter Avenue. I've been doing the parasailing here since 2008. I grew up here. I graduated from Port Aransas High School in 2007, and now I'm raising a family here on my own. Right now, we're all seeing that there is a growing problem at the city marina. The boat ramp, there are businesses using the parking lot and the loading area at the ramp for advertising, check-in booths, and operations. I'm not speaking about fishing guides or shrimp boats, and I want to make a point that I do not ask of any of the following to affect them. They have it hard enough, and I feel that we should do everything we can to preserve them since they've been a staple in our community. I'm speaking about businesses that are taking more than 6 passengers. Boats that take more than 6 passengers are required to be inspected by the Coast Guard and are considered larger operations. These businesses use a bigger footprint and require more resources to operate. The cost for your location to operate is usually a big factor for these businesses. Right now, they are able to minimize this cost to very little by using our marina's public boat ramp and parking lot to operate. There are only a few businesses using this right now, but word is definitely getting out, and it won't be long until we have many more showing up here expecting to do the same thing. So right now, there is the growing jet ski business and a 12-passenger parasail boat. They're exploiting this loophole. The jet ski business sets up a vehicle in the front of the ramp as a mobile check-in booth with advertising. The parasail boat is advertising itself on the most visible boat lift at Roberts Point Park. And to my knowledge, the parasail boat has recently been sold to people from Florida that are planning to resume the same business operating model of using our public ramp. These are attractive businesses when you're only paying $500 a month rent to operate them. There's a very limited dock space at our boat ramp that is supposed to be reserved for boaters to briefly keep their boat while they park their truck and trailer. And to my knowledge, the boat slips next to this dock space are rentable to recreational boaters by the day, and they fill up during peak times in the summer. So add a couple high volume tourism passenger vessels, which carry 6 or more that are operating back and forth all day to this mix, and now there's a major congestion. These operations usually run on a tight schedule to capture as much business as they can in a given day. And I'm seeing them using this space the most, and our recreational boaters are having a hard time just trying to get parked and get out on the water. Another point I would like to make about this is across the marina, you have many brick and mortar businesses that are locally owned and pay much more to supply parking and facilities for their own operations that are similar, if not the same. So I'm asking the city to close the loophole down to all the tourist businesses that are taking more than 6 passengers and that are not fishing guides or shrimp boats. I'm also asking for you to enforce the no using of the city marina slips, the parking lots, or the boat ramp area for advertising the businesses. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
All right, Billy Gaskins.
Hello, I'm Billy Gaskins. I live in 1103 Whispering Sands here, Port Aransas, pretty much forever. Everything Timmy just said, ditto. I've been up here like 3 times I approached several times to see if I could operate my business out of the marina once Woody's Sports Center was up for sale and sold. So I was looking for a place to land. And the city always told me no commercial activity, can't even advertise in the city. So I go along with that, but I turned right around at the same time I was asking for that. There was a tiki boat running there. They had signs all over it, pulled up to the dock, and it was being allowed. And since then, now there's 3 jet ski companies, like he said, a parasail boat, which is now stepped over the line of a 6-pack boat. It's a certified vessel. And I mean, where are you guys going to draw the line? I have 2 100-passenger certified vessels. I mean, can I start picking up at the pickup dock with them? You know, I mean, this is how big a boat you're going to allow. I mean, all that. And really, in my opinion, the city shouldn't be in anything but renting the slips. They shouldn't be over there letting people operate. Competing with us, it's 5 times. I pay 5 times what a slip would cost me at the city. And so, I mean, but then again, if you guys are going to let this continue, I want in. I mean, I'm going to go see you on Monday. I want to borrow some money and buy some boats, and I'm going to hit it, you know, and do like everybody else. But I think you guys need to amend the ordinance that's there. I know it's been a lot of contention on I know there's a lot of guides that use it now, and but this commercial vessel thing's a big deal, because now any boat that can carry more than 6 people can come in there, and they're doing it. It's happening right now. And that parasail boat he's talking about, has the best spot right next to the new big, harbor master's office, very visible. There's his phone number. I was always told I couldn't do that. So you guys need to consider putting it on the agenda and amending at least this ordinance. I don't think it's in its intended use. It was intended and written a long time ago. It was intended for the guy who parks his boat, his buddy gets the boat, drives it to that dock, waits for him to get on and they go. But there's people parking there with signs and they're making money. They're exchanging money in the parking lots. And, you can book things online. You don't even really need a storefront anymore, but they're there. And, it's like really using the parking and the facilities of the city and it's getting clogged up. And so something's going to happen or it's just going to get worse. So that's my story. And, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next is Ken Marsh.
Good evening, Commissioners. First, my name is Ken Marsh and I live at 356 Blue Heron Drive. I'm a citizen and a voter here for a long time. First, I want to thank all of you for the time that you dedicate to taking care of our city and the present needs of it and the future that we're going to have here. As I've already heard, there may be some more need for different things. But I'm here to talk to you tonight about our streets. I live on Blue Heron and Mustang Boulevard comes off of 361 down, and they're building a new subdivision in there. And it's taken a long, long time for them to get the infrastructure that they need and have the streets tore up. And it's been a very big inconvenience, not just for those that us that live out there, but also to the first responders, for the delivery people, for the city employees that have to go out there, for everybody. And that it's taken way too long for them to get that and get it put back. Now they have dug some small trenches across the streets and places and come in there and put some temporary patches, I call it. I don't know if it's silly putty or bubble gum or something like that, but it's not appropriate for a patch. But where they've got the Mustang Boulevard tore up, that needs to be done and need to be all taken out, and they need to put it back to the text dot specifications, the same as it was 361, to equal to or to exceed those specifications, and in appearance too. Because you look all over town and it looks like a patch, a quilted patch. Everywhere you look, we've got bad problems with our scenery, our streets, and we're advertising us as a tourist-friendly town and wheel people in. Well, we don't put them down a street that looks like our streets do. So it needs to be in the same appearance as the streets. So the developer or somebody needs to put that street back like it was. And saying that, the developer is going to probably say, "Oh, this is a big expense to me." Well, maybe it is, but not as much expense as the people that just put up Laguna Isles or the expense that we went to when they formed Island Mooring, because it had to do all the infrastructure, the base and everything. All those guys got to do is come in and rip it out and put new base. They got the base already there. All I got to do is put overlay on it and fix it up. They'll be done. And it'll all look better and look the same. So I'm asking you to talk to the people that work for the city and explain to them that we need some kind of standards all over the city. And I want to sit out there in my place, of course, but I think it'd be all over the city. If you cut something up, you got to put it back better or as good as it was. So it's not exactly, I can't say exactly what happened out there, but it was some kind of incompetence with either the design or the contracting or not giving the proper instruction. And maybe our city was a little lax in letting this happen too, by not keeping an eye on how long that would have been taken over. And it's also a safety problem. So I think you should give some immediate concern to what's happening right now, and then in the future, let's have some kind of standards to put our streets back like we all really want. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. Let's see. Okay, so we now have a couple of people on some different items. Sorry, I'm just trying to organize. Next is John Linskog. You can do either one. Okay, all right. Kathy Fulton.
Hi, I'm Kathy Fulton, 619 East Avenue B. And, I want to say just real quick, congratulations on signing up for another 2 years of hell. Don't know why you do it. Okay, and, oh, hi, David. Just kidding. Anyway, all right, so I think I put down the number wrong there, but I did want to say something on this, on the mobile or on the, ordinance for the mobile home RV park. We don't even allow mobile home or manufactured home parks here. We don't have them. So I'm a little confused why we would want to even put either of those two words in there. We have RV parks, okay? And so I've got a problem with especially manufactured, because manufactured is a fixed structure. That's what it is. And why would you want to label it as a manufacturer? Because that seems to imply that you're kind of opening up a door where then if you're going to do these glamping sites or whatever everybody wants to call them, that you would be allowing a fixed mobile or a manufactured home to be put in there. And that doesn't seem like that's a good idea. My thought on this is that the wording needs to be tightened up. And also, I'd just like to point out, I was a little bit surprised when it said at the end of that it says passed, ordained, and approved and adopted on this the 16th day of May, when it's supposed to go through a couple more readings. So maybe I'm wrong about that, but that seemed odd. Now, on the other item, item G, about discussing the unintended consequences, I guess, of some zoning, some of the zoning change that was done a couple of years ago. We don't need to go back. Okay, that's the long and short of it. We reduced the lot sizes were increased to 5,000, which is what they used to be, which is, we need to keep it there. There's not that much left in this older, in the inside of 1 or 1A that, is left anyway. So the fact that we were trying, I think that the goal there, a lot of that was about helping to reduce density and not have quite so much, density with STRs in particular. And if we go back to the old way with what's left, we're just, it backfired, guys. It backfired. The whole point of that originally, back when that was done in 2010 or whatever, was to help supply hopefully some more affordable options for people to have a house here. And it backfired. We all know it backfired. Nobody got any long-term anything out of it. We need to remember that we still are short on long-term housing is where I'm going with this. And to do something like this, I would only go for something like this if it were strictly limited to long-term only, because we just keep leaving out everybody else, people like me. And so I just want to say we should not do that. Please, 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 please don't go back. We put that in place for a reason, and we need to stick with it. Thank you.
Okay. Bill Gavitt.
Boy, how to follow that's gonna be tough.
You can do it.
Hi, my name is Bill Gavitt. I'm a long-term resident of Port Aransas. I think most of you knew my mom, Jolita Gavitt, better than me. And if you've been here more than 25 years, you may have known my dad, Lynn Gavitt, when they had the drugstore over on Alster. In 1980, my father and I bought the tract that fronted on Station Street and went over to 9th Street, which is where now the Nautilus subdivision is. In 1982, we decided to build our first quadruplex, which we called Building A, because the commanding officer at the Coast Guard station approached my dad and said that there was no place for him to place his cadets, and was there some way we could help them with living conditions? So we built the first one of the 4 that are there. We finished it in time for him to get his next shift to move in. And 5 to 6 years, it stayed that way and supported itself just fine. In 1995, after my father had passed away, my mother took over managing the apartments and got very stir crazy. And so she was acutely aware of the need for fairly priced places to rent and had a constant waiting list. We decided that we would continue with the plan that Dad and I started and build Building B. It was full before we had it finished. And at that point, we had multiple teachers, students from UTMSI, and even a couple of policemen as tenants. In 2000, we decided that there was enough interest that we should go ahead and start Building C. This had been the plan since the beginning. It was laid out for us to build from the back forward, because we ran all the infrastructure underground so that we could just tie into it. The building would be across the driveway and would give us space available to continue to grow. Like the others, she was able to fill it completely within a month of its completion. In 2006, construction began on Building D, exactly the same floor plan, exactly the same prints, still on track with our original long-term plan. Its placement, like the others, was done so that the need presented itself, we could continue to provide reasonably priced places to live. We still have a waiting list. Anytime we have a vacancy, the school, UTMSI, locals without a place that they can afford to come there and find a place to stay. My mom became ill in 2016 after Harvey, and her care fell upon me. I was not aware that the council was discussing this density ordinance. After her passing in 22, I decided to continue our long-term plan. I approached Nicole and Rick about getting a permit to build Building E, which would be adjacent to the others. It was at that time that I was made aware that the new ordinance would only allow me to build 1 1/2 more units on that entire acre of ground. We had specifically developed this property from the back to the front. So now with the new ordinance, we cannot continue our plan. I'm sorry, I heard it. The property taxes for this raw piece of ground at this point are costing me over $13,000 a year. And I can't justify doing anything or not doing something with it. The city is constantly talking about how there's not enough fairly priced places for working people and young families to rent. I challenge you to search Port Aransas and find anything that is more fairly priced than ours. We have proven ourselves over 40 years to be true to that thought. Please help me rectify this ordinance so that we can finish what we started. I appreciate your time.
Thank you very much, Bill. All right. John, do you still want to wait, or do you want to, you can wait, or you want to follow? Okay, since you're the same item, why don't you come up? We'll let you say your piece, and then there'll be time if there's something later, maybe.
Thank you all very much. I'm John Linskog. I live at 1833 South 11th Street at the Sand Hill Townhomes, and I'm on the board over there. And the Sand Hill HOA is caught in the middle of some of the unintended consequences in the 21 changes to the density code. The HOA consists of 18 units. They're on 11th Street. The project was started with 6 units in 2003. And then there's the site map up there. And 12 more units were completed in 2005. The original developer had a preliminary plat for 42 units on the project. The 18 are there on the north side, and that empty square was where the other 24 were going to be, and they were never built. The developer in '05 filed an amending plat to separate the properties based on the 3,000 square foot density at the time. The remainder of the property was being saved for future development. The amending plat was approved by the city council and the city staff at that time. Actually, I guess the council doesn't approve an amending plat, so it was just the staff. Now the city staff has decided that the amending plat, according to the city and the state statutes, can't subdivide a property like that, which I understand, but the issue didn't come to light until 2023. Then in late 2023, the extra property up there was sold, which opened up a whole nother can of worms. During that process, we found out when the property was separated in 2005 that the 12 units on the east end of the property lost their driveways. There's no deeded access to the 12 units driveways. So now that everybody understands that, the title companies won't insure the title. The owners should be disclosing this to any possible purchaser, and the properties are basically unsaleable.
Oh, that's 3 minutes, sir.
So
Wrap it up, please.
the city staff wants us to correct this, but they also want us to abide by the 5,000 feet, which is just going to be more property for the HOA. It's kind of like reverse condemnation because they want us to take more property instead of giving it up, and we can't afford the taxes and the insurance and the maintenance. And so we're here to support some changes in this code. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much,
Appreciate
John. Okay, Chad Schmides?
Good evening, Chad Schmides, 830 Oceanside Drive. As you just heard Mr. Linscock say, and I'm also speaking as your P and Z chairman, we have an issue because there are several legacy plats that are coming our way that need some amending. Some are for reasons that were beyond the control of the owners, but in order to amend those plats, you have to vacate a plat and create a new plat. Our current rules do not allow those plats to be recreated. We at P and Z can't issue a variance because we've looked at all the different pathways through this and we cannot find a hardship, and you can't base a hardship on a financial reason. And in most all these cases, you could fix it with money. You know, this guy buys property from them, they do this, they pay more taxes, they have more land. There's always probably a way around it that in most cases gets back to money. And so what's happening now is we need a way to be able to fix these. And I'm not arguing 3,000 versus 5,000. That's you guys. But I know, and we're given a set of rules and we're supposed to follow those rules. And based on those rules right now, we can't help this. And so I hope you guys take some consideration to figure out what we can do to at least try to help Mr. Gavitt get his apartments built. Help Mr. Linscock and his group get their property unencumbered. Because right now we can't say they don't have reasonable use of their property because they do. But it will require them to have more property if we have to go to the current rules. But that's my ask, is just for you guys as our governing board, please look out for a few of our taxpayers and let's try to, even kick it back to us and we'll see what we can do. But right now we can't do anything because the rules just don't allow for it. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Chad.
Chad. Okay, next is Victoria Spencer Smith. or Thomas, you're both signed up. If y'all want to come together, share your 3 minutes. Save us all 3 minutes. No. It was his handwriting, Victoria.
You're coming after me. Okay, after I spoke the last time, I kind of thought about it, and I think that everybody has a different interpretation of an RV park than I do, and I just wanted to clarify some things. I think that, and I wanted to thank y'all for all the hard work you're doing on this. I really do, because I know that y'all spent a couple times, y'all been up here and y'all having to go through this. But RV park is more like a hotel. It's not a standing structure that has a bunch of partiers at it getting in trouble. We've got 2 couples that live on site, and we actually have a house that overlooks the whole park. So there's 6 eyes on that park at any given time. In 12 years, we've never had a noise complaint, ever. Now all the houses around us, I know one of them I've called 8 times in a month and a half on noise complaints. All the houses have noise complaints, but we never do. We have very strict rules that when these people come in, they sign off on our rules. If they break the rules, we kick them out, no refunds. And that includes quiet hours, 10 o'clock on, no anything. So I see it more like a hotel. It's not just, you know, somebody shows up in an RV and starts screaming and yelling and everything, they're out. But it's different from a structure because none of the STRs are managed. I mean, on-site managed. And even when you call the STR hotline, you're waiting hours for anybody to do anything on that. So if we can try and get the RVs away from the STRs, they're just 2 different animals, I believe. I know she wanted me to talk about something else, and I can't remember what the heck it is, so. I'll let her come up here and finish.
Thank you, Tim. Okay.
Thomas Smith, 1820 South 11.
Thank you. Victoria, do you want, okay, you are coming up. All right.
I wasn't gonna speak about it.
Okay.
Victoria Spencer Smith, 1900 South 11th, 1820 South 11th. I didn't realize that there might be some changes in the ordinance regarding lot size and building stuff until tonight. I wasn't under that impression. When the last ordinance went through, it took my 2.67 acres on 11th Street and it tied my hands on what I'd be able to do with my investment majorly. So to give a variance for somebody to want to do certain things and to help them be unencumbered or to help this or to help that is not fair to me. Because I have a big investment in that RV park and it's my retirement. So, you know, if there's any changes that are going to be made, it needs to be across the board for me too. Because I sure did have to make changes. You know, if I wanted to develop my 2.6 acres, my whole thing changed when that ordinance went through. Completely what I could do with my land. So moving forward, again, this is why we're standing up here, you know, so that we can do what Aloha Beach is doing. Everything needs to be fair. So if any changes are made, it needs to be made across the board for everybody. That's my opinion. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Victoria. All right. Now I have several speakers on the last item. First, in no particular order, Ken Savage.
Hi, I'm Ken Savage. Give you kind of an idea where I'm coming from. I like animals, military, law enforcement, and about 3 people. The animal shelter here is in pretty sad shape. The city employees and volunteers do an amazing job with what they've got. But something needs to be done with some more space, better ventilation. And that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, Susan Savage.
Hi, everybody. Susan Savage, 166 Beach Walk Lane. Probably not to your surprise, I'm here to speak strongly in favor of the improvements to the animal shelter. in a previous chapter of my life, I had the privilege of serving as the vice president of a humane society in a small community in a remote island in the Hawaiian Island chain. And much like in Fort A, that area over a 15-year period of time grew quite a bit, like we're seeing here. They had challenges like Port A has had in terms of the hurricane and other budgetary needs. But now is the time to look at the animal shelter and make some much needed improvements. Let me just say that they are an integral part of the family unit, of the community here, and of the ecosystem here. And we need to improve the quality of life for the animals, all of them, whether they're dumped on the beach. We need to deal with that. And we are seeing more and more of that as the tourist industry builds and we see more and more people here. We're seeing more issues with the animal welfare. And I think this is the time to really consider those much needed improvements. We were able to do a lot in the community that I was in. We started out in a shipping container. And although it was a small, modest facility, over the course of 15 years, we did build a facility that helped, that gave them ventilation, that gave them the proper air conditioning and a suitable space to take care of the animals. We should be proud of the fact that we're animal friendly here. And even our visitors come and they enjoy the fact that they can take their animals to the restaurant, or, you know, that they can become a part of this community while they're staying here. So please, I ask you to consider all of those changes very seriously. This is the time. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Susan. All right, Paula Baker.
My name's Paula Baker. I live at 474 Paradise Point. I've lived here on the island for 7 years as a wannabe retired veterinarian. I work at the clinic and I work at the ARC, and I've also volunteered at the shelter for pretty much since Hurricane Harvey, kind of helping in a advisory sort of capacity. This shelter's an embarrassment. It's grossly in need of repairs. We need a better budget. We need more staffing. I think our animal control officers do a fabulous job, but this shelter needs a managerial person to oversee operations because our officers are busy. They're out. So we did get the budget to help with the remodeling. But when that remodeling went through architecture, and then we actually kind of went through that, the plans that they brought back to us, it's not a functional space. And when we tried to create a functional space, we created a budget that is 5 times what the city has offered. So we need, you know, over $1 million to make that space a functional space. Or we need to start shopping for a better location and an area that has more room to actually build a functional shelter. Because I hope that all of y'all have been to visit our shelter. You would not house your animal there. I would not house my animal there. I would just be heartbroken if my animal ended up there for any length of time. It's in need of some badly needed repairs. Our cat area, it's too crowded. The cats come there and get sick because they are all spreading ringworm and parasites. I work at the clinic here. I see all of the medical problems that are coming out of our shelter. The space that the dogs are in is creating a lot of fighting amongst themselves, and it's hard to break them up because there's just not enough space allowed. So I would like to see, in addition to a better shelter and more budget allowed towards remodeling or moving, I'd also like to see a budget for employees. We need to quit relying on just volunteers to do all the cleaning and the the medical side of this is not getting done in a, you know, in a efficient manner. The shelter cannot be run efficiently, and it really wouldn't take that much to put a manager in there and get it into an efficient state. So, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Baker. Okay, Rebecca Rico Hesse, sorry if I say that incorrectly. Did I say that all right? Rico Hesse, okay, welcome.
My mother is Barbara Hesse, the designer of the flag of the city of Corpus Christi.
Oh,
Yes. Rebecca Rico Hesse, I live at 887 Oceanside. I'm a retired professor from, excuse me, Baylor College of Medicine. Sorry, I have major allergies. I am a PhD in virology, MPH, epidemiology. I'm here to serve you since I've retired from Baylor College of Medicine. I've lived here for 2 years, and thankfully to you, I'm on your Animal Shelter Advisory Council. And anyway, I'm here to serve you in any way, if I may. I specialize in mosquito-borne viruses. Okay, West Nile, dengue, chikungunya, many other things. I'm here to express my concern about the animal shelter, as Dr. Baker has expressed. We've had several council meetings, but right now we're basically waiting for the city manager to tell us what is going to happen. And it's been a long haul. We're basically just waiting and waiting. And I have actually obtained a pro bono advisory from Cornell University Animal Shelter Medicine. The director, Dr. Datar, has looked at the plans that we had back in February. And she made some suggestions. My PhD is from Cornell, and that's why I have direct access there. And they are willing to help us some more if we need more input. Very specialized things. There are only 8 veterinary schools in the United States that have the animal shelter medicine specialty. Okay, but she actually wrote the book on animal shelter medicine. So we got free, and she's ready to look at any blueprints, whatever you want. Okay, and I will coordinate that with you. But because nothing has happened, I would like to say that I'm willing to donate $100,000 out of my IRA to help with the infrastructure. Not to the 501c3 that has been set up by some other citizens here, thankfully, but for infrastructure. We'd like to put that there. And after I reach the age of 73, I can donate much more than that. Right now, I have to pay taxes on everything that I donate. So I'm willing to put $125,000, $100,000 net to the infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Brenda Porter. Okay, I'm so sorry. You sure did, honey. Okay, you're right, but you're available. Okay, thank you. And then finally, we have Nancy Branson.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I am going to take you on a visit. If you have not been to the animal shelter, I had a friend of mine who wanted a gray Russian, blue Russian, and one came up at the shelter. So I called my friends and that work there, volunteer, and they said, come on out. I knew these people and they told me where the shelter was. I'd never been out there. I drive down and I look around and I think, certainly this is not it. And I turn down the road and there's a sign and I drive. Have you been out there? Oh my heavens. So you get down the road and it had been raining. So there's big water puddles out front. So I'm trying to find a place to pull in, and there's no place to park without getting into a big puddle. And then there's construction vehicles in the back, and there's things just crammed in there. And I'm thinking, this isn't the animal shelter. And then I see Joe Ellen's truck pull up, and she whips around and backs in across the street. And I think, okay, well, it must be. And then you get out. The din of the dogs barking and coming right up to the front is overwhelming. I was going to the cat house, and there's a little sign, which I understand is to your, that we even have signage. And you walk in and cats are going up the ceiling. In cages. I mean, they're not running loose. They're not, you know, jumping on it, but it's overwhelming. And I'm thinking, poor cats, you know, you walk in the door and here's these cats and people coming in and noise and the dogs barking and somebody's trying to talk to you about adopting an animal, and you're going, I can't hear you. So I just want you to know this is from somebody who lives here. And I know a lot of you have probably not been out there. I really suggest you go take a trip. It's an embarrassment. And as the other speakers, and I'm not going to give you $125,000. I mean, I got a few more years left, maybe then, but you've got some great talent here, volunteers that are outstanding, people just waiting to help make this a place where we would be proud of. And visitors do come and take animals home. They do go to the shelter. Winter Texans adopt animals. I was asking for some numbers today, but let's make this a place we can be proud of and not some place where you walk in and you go, how sad is this to be Port Aransas? So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you to all the speakers and for those of you who are participating in your public comment opportunities. I really appreciate that. All right, so we're going to move on to item 6, which is the consent agenda. Any comments on the item that's in the consent agenda, or do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Fran, please call the roll.
Councilmember Christensen,
Yes.
Councilmember Crawford,
Yes.
Councilmember Chambers,
Yes.
Councilmember Krueger,
Yes.
Councilmember Whitten,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Owen,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right. At this time, before we go into our regular items for consideration, the city council is going to go into closed executive session pursuant to Texas Government Code 551.071 to have a consultation with the city's attorney. So we appreciate your patience. We'll let y'all know as soon as we come back live.